everyone. So this week we are supposed to study pricing for export. Um, However, to have you step closer to the reality, I will combine uh, pricing for export, trade documents, and transportation and international payment. So those chapters, I will just combine it, and I will teach you how to write the contract. So that when you go to work in the company, you will know how to prepare and check the contract if it's uh, already good or not. So that's why. Okay, so please allow me to combine it together. Then I will teach you through one content, that is the contract for the international sale of goods. And in this one, I will teach you the process, how to write the contract and how to implement it or how to check the contracts. And of course it will include price or payment method, or I will introduce some trade documents so that you will understand more, but I just combine them so that the content will be consistent. So after these lessons, like the whole contracts for the international sale of goods chapter, I expect that you guys can apply the contract for international sale of goods in the reality. You will know when you have to use it and how can you apply it. And the second one is you have to know how to construct, how to write the contract. The contract for international sale of goods, I just shorten it like CISG. So please remember from me, CISG is the contracts for the international sales of goods. Okay. And the third expectation is you know how to implement and monitor the activities according to the contract. So you need to check your side and also your partner if we are following the articles in the contract. And to achieve the expectations, we will go through 5 main contents. The first one is overview about CISG. The second one is application of CISG. The third content is major features of CISG. The next one is some notes you have to pay attention to when you draft the contracts. And the last one is the specific content of CISG. So according to the Commercial Law 2005, remember that the Commercial Law 2005 is the updated commercial law in Vietnam. So even now is 2020, we still use uh, the Commercial Law 2005. And you can take a look at Article 3. They say that the purchase and sales of goods mean commercial activities whereby the seller is obliged to deliver goods. So we have to subject the seller and the purchaser. So the seller is obliged to deliver goods, transfer the ownership of goods to the purchaser, and receive the payment. So the seller, we have three activity. The first one is deliver products. The second one is transfer the ownership of goods to the purchaser, and the third one is receive payment. How about purchaser? Purchaser is obliged to pay the seller, receive the good, and also receive the ownership thereof as agreed. Okay, so what is good here? Goods mean All types of movables includes those to be formed in the future, and also things attached to land. So it's not include services, only products, only goods. And here is mean it's tangible. We can touch it. Goods is those things we can touch, and it's tangible. Okay. So what is contract? For purchase and sale of goods, that is an agreement between the parties, according to which the seller has the obligation to deliver goods, transfer the ownership uh, of the goods to be the buyer, and receive the payment. So it's the same for purchase and sale of goods. However, the contract is the agreement between them, between the parties. Okay, and the buyer has the obligation to arrange payment, like pay for the seller, receive the goods, and the ownership. So we come out with the definition of contracts for the international sale of goods, that is equal to the contracts for the purchase and sale of goods plus international elements. So what are international elements? We will learn it later. So let's see when we can use CISG, the application of it. So follow the Uniform Law of International Sale of Goods in 1964. They say that we can apply to the contracts of sale of goods into our by party whose place of business are in the territories of different states in each of the following case. So we have three cases. The first one, that is where the contract involves the sale of goods which are at the time of the conclusion of the contract in the course of carriage or will carry from the territory of one state to the territory of another. So in the first one, the CISG can apply for the case that uh, the contract involved in the sale of goods aside, or the carriage will be carried from this territory of this stage to another territory of another stage. Okay. The second one is where the acts constituting the offer and the acceptance have been affected in the territories of different states. And the third one is where delivery of goods is to be made in the territory of a state other than that with those territory the acts constituting the offer and the acceptance are affected. So all in all, it means that as long as it's from the territory of one state to the territory of another. So we can see that the application of this law should not depends on the nationality of the parties, right? They don't mention about the nationality of the party, only the different states. How about other law? If we look at the United Nations Convention on CISG in 1980, the convention apply to contracts of sale of goods between parties whose places of business are in different states. So we can see that this convention only mention about the parties that whose place of business are in different states. They don't mention about nationality of the party or the civil and commercial character of the parties. So they don't consider the nationality or the civil or commercial character of the party, though they only consider where the business are located. So as long as the business are located, the parties are located in different states, they can apply the CISG. So we can see if we use different law, different convention, the meaning, the application of CISG will be different. Okay, so it depends on which law or which convention you will use based on the agreement between two parties. That is the international law. How about in Vietnam? So consider the regulation uh, 4794 TNX and K issued by the Ministry of Trade in 1991. We see that they determine the foreign trade contracts are those with international elements. Okay, and what are international elements? International elements include like the traders are of different nationality. So the first one, nationality. The second one, goods are transported across border. And finally, the payment currencies is foreign to at least one party. Okay, so for example, we are in Vietnam, so the payment at least are to Vietnam is not Vietnam though, it's other currency. Okay, and here in this regulation, the nationality is one of the most important elements. Let's look at the commercial law in 1997. So they say the contracts for purchase and sale of goods with foreign traders are contracts entered into between a Vietnamese trader and a foreign trader. So as long as it's a contract between a Vietnamese trader and a foreign trader, we will call it CISG. So what is the crucial element here? Please help me answer the question. What is the crucial element when we use the commercial law 1997 to define the CISG? Is nationality, right? Because as long as it's a Vietnamese or a foreigner. Okay? So the question for you, try to think by yourself or think of the answer. If a contract enter into between a Chinese trader and a Vietnamese one, both based in Vietnam, so the contract signed between them called CISG or not? And the second question is a contract entered between two Vietnamese traders based in different countries. So the first one is Vietnamese and a foreigner that is Chinese, but both based in Vietnam. So the contract between them is CISG or not. And the second one is they are two parties are Vietnamese, but they based in different countries. For example, one in Vietnam and one in China. So the contract between them is CISG or not. So please help me think of the answer of these two questions. Okay, and here we go through the commercial law 2005. This one is the newest one, and we are still using this commercial law. And here in the article 27.1, okay, I gave you the link so you can read more about the commercial law 1997. And here also the link for the commercial law 2005. They have both Vietnamese and English versions, so you are free to read either Vietnamese or English version. So in commercial law 2005, the international purchase and sale of goods shall be conducted in form of export, import, temporary import for re-export, temporary export for re-import, and transfer through border gate. Okay, that is the definition, the determination of the CISG will be conducted. So the most important here is the movement of goods across the national or the custom borders. Okay, and for what is export, what is import, what is temporary import to re-export, what is temporary export for re-import, you can read the article 28 to 30 in commercial law 2005. They explain very well what are they. So the contracts without the movement of goods across the national or the custom borders will not be considered as a contract for international sale of goods. So CISG here is only conducted when there is a movement of goods across the national or the custom borders. Okay, so question for you is, how if we sell the real estate to the foreigners? Is it considered CISG? And the second question is, do we consider the nationality when we use the commercial law for CISG? So help me think, spend some time thinking of these two questions. And maybe I will put those questions in the quiz for you guys. And please take note from me, the commercial law 2005 may not govern all cases. So it depends on the parties, it depends on the traders. They can refer to commercial law 2005, or they also can refer to the civil code 2005 or other laws, or they can combine the commercial law and the civil law. It depends on our agreement, the parties agreement. Okay. And here we say that the CISG only conducted when there is a movement of goods across the national or the custom borders. But we have another term for export, that is on-spot export. This one is a special exporting form. That is, the goods will produce in Vietnam for sale to the foreign trader, but delivered to other enterprise based in Vietnam and designated by the foreign trader. Toàn Phát company in Hưng Yên signs contract with the Typhoon company in Taiwan, and Typhoon company in Taiwan assigned the Toàn Phát company to deliver the products to Yellow company in Haidiong, which they're machining for Typhoon company. So in this case, we can see that Toàn Phát company is produce products to sell to Typhoon company, right? However, they are assigned to deliver to other companies based in Vietnam, that is Yellow company. So in this case, we call this exporting activity is on-spot export. On-spot export. Okay? An on-spot exporting enterprise is the enterprise that engage in on-spot export activities. An on-spot importing enterprise is the enterprise that receive the products, receive the goods from on-sporting export enterprise as designated by the foreign trade. So go back with this example. Please let me know which one is on-spot exporting company and which one is on spot importing company. Okay, so we can see here the on spot exporting company is the company that engage in the on spot export activity. So it means Toàn Phát company is the on spot export company, right? And which one is on spot importing company? On-spot importing company is the company that receive the products from the on-spot exporting. So in this case, which company receive product from Toàn Phát company? That is Yellow company. So we have on-spot exporting company is Toàn Phát, and on-spot importing company is Yellow. So this one is special case of exporting that they export but they deliver their products to a company based in Vietnam, not outside Vietnam. So the product haven't crossed the border yet, but it's also considered export. Okay. So we can see that if we use the commercial law 1997, we also have some disadvantage. Is this one, and if we use commercial law 2005, it's not also adequate yet, because we still have the case that related to nationality or about the real estate or the on-spot exporting. So that's why combine the commercial law and the civil law 2005, we have definition for CISG. So CISG, the contracts for the international sale of goods, is the agreement between parties whose a place of business at different countries or separate custom areas, according to which the seller is obliged to deliver goods, transfer the ownership thereof to the buyer, and the buyer is obliged to receive their goods and the ownership thereof and arrange the payment. And for seller, they receive the payment. So combination between the commercial law and civil law, we have the application for the CISG like this, and this one so far is the most adequate definition for CISG. So please remember this one for me. So please Now we will go to the next part, the major features of CISG. For channel features, we have the principle when we make the contract is based on the freedom and voluntariness following the Civil Code 2005, and the subject is the traders. The content is about the rights and the obligations. And these are contract are bilateral and consensual contracts with consideration. Now let's go to the particular features. So the subject, the trader, is the places of business in territories of different states or separate custom area. Objective is move across state or move across the custom border. And the payment should be the foreign currency to at least one party. And we can apply various sources of governing law, for example, national law, international will, commercial practice, or legal precedents. The legal validity of CISG. The subjects should be legal, the objects should be legal, the form also should be legal. So follow CISG. The form we can either oral or writing or by other specific acts. Follow Vietnam law. Follow Vietnam law. It should be in writing or other equal forms. The contents also should be legal. So the contract has to include all the legally compulsory articles. However, depends on different source of laws, we will have different compulsory articles. For example, if we use Vietnamese law, the commercial law 1997, we need to have 6 compulsory articles. If we follow the Civil Code 2005, we need to have 8 commonly used articles. If we use the Commercial Law 2005, there is no requirement about the compulsory articles. If we use international law, in CISG Article 14, they require us to have 3 compulsory articles. However, in Article 19, they require us to have 6 compulsory articles. If we follow the English law, we need to have 3 compulsory articles, that is commodity, quality, and price. However, in French law, we only need to have 2 compulsory articles, that is commodity and price. So when you write a contract with your with your partner, you need to discuss and make a conclusion which law you want to follow. So for example, you choose to follow the Civil Code 2005, then you have to input 8 compulsory articles. Okay, so it depends on which law are you using. And here is some notes you have to pay attention to when you draft the contracts. First one, the content has to be detailed and consistent, and the word you use have to be clear and precise. So it should be easy to understand and it's very clear. And only have it's better if you use simple word and only have one straight meaning. For language, it should be the official language and popular. The seller and buyer are free to choose the language. So you can choose whatever language that you discuss with each other and make the conclusion which language is the official language for your contract. Following the Vietnam custom regulations, we either choose Vietnamese or English or certified translation from other languages. So the question here is, should we make different copies, like we make many copies of different languages for the contract? The second question is, uh, I give you an example. A Vietnamese company signs the CISG with a Cambodian company. During negotiating and signing the contract, they use English. And after signing the contract, to be convenient in complementing the contract, they agree to translate the contract into Vietnamese and sorry, this one should be Cambodians. Cambodians. However, in Vietnamese and Cambodian version, there are some inconsistent articles, so it means the meaning of that article are not consistent. So what should they do in this case? So please help me answer these two questions. Okay, that's it for our lesson today. So please go back and help me answer those questions. Then I will answer you in the Zoom meeting. Thank you. We will continue the next part, the final part about the contents. That is the general information about the CSIG. So in next lesson, we will learn how to write it in specifics.